Hello, fight fans. Seattle Mike, MMA with friends. If you like everything boxing, MMA, violence, hit that like button. You're new, hit the subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified whenever I drop a new video. Or go live like next week for Rafael dos Anjos versus Islam Makhachev. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about last night's card because, man, this was a really good card. We've got some good free cards from ESPN Plus in the ESPN era. I've said at times that I feel like we're spoiled. I still feel that way. Last night was no different. A lot of good things to break down from last night, though. Let's start out with the first fight of the night, Gustavo Lopez versus Anthony Burachok. You know, Gustavo came in just a slight favorite. You know, this fight was expected to be pretty competitive. It was anything but. Gustavo Lopez came in, imposed his will on Anthony Burachok, and submitted him quickly and easily. I'd like to see him get a step up in competition. Then let's take Max Griffin and Ramiz Brahimaj. A lot of hype for Brahimaj coming into this fight. It was his UFC debut, but the odds were almost even. And a lot of times there's kind of a rule, and you got a veteran, or at least I would say definitely like 5 years ago, you'd have a veteran and you have a guy from somewhere else coming in and the odds are close. I mean, generally a lot of times that means this new guy's about to break through and maybe smoke a veteran. That was not what happened last night. Max Griffin, I mean, not only did he nullify Ramiz Brahimaj's takedowns, which Brahimaj, an excellent submission artist, 7 of his 8 wins, he finished by submission. Max Griffin, his boxing was incredible. It's the best I've ever seen him on his feet. His footwork was top-notch, and he was as light on his foot. His footwork was literally some of the best in the welterweight division last night, and I don't think I'm overselling that. Great win for Max Griffin. He really, that is a stacked, crowded welterweight division, but he definitely added to his stock, and he could definitely break into the top 15 soon. Luis Garagori versus Darren Elkins. This could have easily been the fight of the night. We're going to go through with the bonus awards at the end of this, or as we go through, and I'll let you guys know what it is. But this one, these guys deserved a little bit of extra money. For sure. Darren Elkins comes in and imposes his will in the first round with grappling. Luis Garagori comes back with pinpoint striking, floors Darren Elkins several times, wins the second round. It's all down to whoever wins the third. And that round was the entire fight in a nutshell, because it was back and forth. It was Garagori landing big shots and flooring Elkins. It was Elkins taking Garagori down and looking like he was going to get a submission until finally he did. Crawls on the back of a tired Luis Garagori and chokes him into submission. Great fight, though. We've heard a ton about Alexander Romanov. He's a tough guy. I was a little surprised coming into this that Marcos Rogerio de Lima was as much of an underdog as he was. The final numbers were Alexander Romanov was a minus 500 favorite. So you'd have to put down $500 to bring home a Benjamin betting on Alexander Romanov. But, you know, he made those odds makers look good. De Lima, he got his shots in there, but in the end, Alexander Romanov, his grappling was too much. He had advantages everywhere. Very impressive performance for Alexander Romanov. Gets the first win, first round submission, and also pulls out one of those bonuses. That's one of your $50,000 bonuses, performance award, Alexander Romanov. And then we go to Trevin Giles versus Bavon Lewis. I said this could be fight of the night. I was coming into that, and I'm like, man, this is, on paper, this is a really good fight. It was a really good back and forth fight. Bavon Lewis really put on a slow pace, though. I don't feel like he really, I don't want to say it wasn't 100%, because I don't want to, make excuses of why he didn't go out there and fight. His energy didn't seem great, though. Trevin Giles, he wasn't like the most active he's ever been. But, his striking was very good. He wore Bavon Lewis down and finishes him at 126 of the third round. A good win for Trevin Giles. Let's go to the main card. Claudia Godelia versus Yon Jiangnan. Claudia Godelia has been a staple in this women's strawweight division for a very long time. And we really I expected her to make things very tough. She likes to make things very nasty on the ground, and she will beat you up with her ground and pound and her wrestling and everything. And I mean, just a real gritty fighter that's given everybody problems, including the former champion Yon Jiangnan. Not the case tonight. Yon Jiangnan shut her down. She put together beautiful boxing. Yan came into this number 8th ranked stalwart in the world. Godelia, I believe, was number 4. Yan's going to move way up. She's going to be in the top 5 there. She is a contender after that performance from last night. One of the biggest favorites of the night due to a late replacement, Jamie Simmons, Giga Chikadze. He made it look like Jamie Simmons was a last-minute replacement. Giga did what Giga does. And Giga D got himself a performance of the night bonus. That's 2 of your 3 bonuses right there. Beautiful performance. The end was never in doubt, and you almost had to kind of feel sorry for Jamie Simmons because he almost seemed like a spectator in there. Ronnie Barsolas versus Khalid Taha. Back and forth, guys. You really almost had no idea who was going to win up until those last couple of minutes. But man, these guys went back and forth with the striking, with the grappling. You've seen everything. It was a full mixed martial arts battle for 15 minutes, and it was never boring. And that's why they won the $50,000 bonus for Fight of the Night. Now, there's a lot of controversy about that. I don't necessarily agree with it because we're not done here, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Tanner Boser, on the way up. I said he has the best mullet in MMA, maybe the best mullet in sports. He's also got a lot of power, and he's a very good fighter. Andre Arlovski, admittedly, from his own words, said, I could see how people could think that was a bit boring last night. That kind of sums up the fight. Andre Arlovski, low volume but accurate when he threw. He held Tanner Boser. He made Tanner Boser fight his fight. And that was a very slow, methodical fight. And it was the fight of a 41-year-old heavyweight. Not the most entertaining fight in the world. And I actually thought that Tanner Boser pulled off the decision. The judges disagreed with me unanimously. It's not an abhorrent decision, so I'm okay with it. But Andre Arlovski's won 4 out of 5. Be interesting to see where they put him at next. Thiago Santos against Glover Teixeira coming into this fight. Major title fight implications. Of course, Thiago Santos coming off a battle with John Jones where a lot of people thought he almost won that fight. Some people thought he did win that fight. To say that he had a compromised leg is maybe the understatement of MMA of the year. I mean, he could barely walk. Now, tonight against Glover Teixeira, a lot of people were saying, Thiago Santos, he doesn't do real well with the grapplers and stuff. But I was like, man, he just fought John Jones for 25 minutes. What's Glover Teixeira going to do to him that John Jones didn't? Apparently a lot. Thiago Santos, he got his shots in. He actually had Glover hurt, and it looked like he might put him out. There in the third round before Glover rolled him over and sunk on a beautiful RNC. So I get a text this morning, or a message on Facebook from member and sometimes co-host Wyatt Matheson. It says, man, I can't believe that Glover didn't get any of the bonuses. And we had a little back and forth as I told him why I thought that might be. It didn't go the full 3 rounds. Definitely not 5. But this definitely could have been a candidate for fight of the night. The back in the fourth, the Glover Teixeira definitely could have been performance bonus award. I want to go back. There are several lawsuits floating around against the UFC about fighter pay right now. And then Luke Thomas just went on Joe Rogan last week, talked about a lot of these and really got the conversation going. He might have broke it wide open. So my theory is possibly that we're going to see these performance bonuses go to a lot more of the guys that aren't already making 6 figures a fight. And Glover Teixeira, he's up there in the high 6 figures. I think he probably got at least in between 250 and 300 grand for this one. Thiago Santos, he's floating in the 200K level as well. But one of the things that came out in that conversation that Luke Thomas actually, complimented the UFC for is that they've done something that boxing never accomplished, and they kind of made a middle class. There's fighters, you don't have to be a champion. You can be a guy that, has a little bit of a fan following, but just goes out there, win or lose, puts together exciting fights, and you might be 8-5 in the UFC, but you got a couple performance bonuses, and everybody likes to see a fight, and you can make a decent living. You can make your 6 figures a year like that, and guys are not doing that in boxing. So I'm just speculating, but maybe the boss, maybe that is, maybe that's a bit calculated. I don't want to take anything away from Ronnie Barcelos and Khalid Taha or Giga Chikadze for his performance or Alexander Romanov. But one of the things when I'm thinking about a performance bonus award, I put a lot more stock in a guy getting a finish against a number one contender, literally the number one contender in the light heavyweight division, than I do at getting a stoppage against a guy that you're supposed to beat. A 7-1 favorite. I mean, I just do. And maybe, if this is not the fight, Glover Teixeira in the, the 6 figures, maybe if Claudia Godelia and Yon Jiangnan, maybe if they put together that fight, or maybe if Yon gets that kind of finish, the exact same way. Maybe it's different. Maybe she does get the money. Maybe if Brahimaj coming in would have been the hype that everybody was talking about, and put together a good performance against veteran Max Griffin, maybe he gets that bonus. But don't be surprised, and this is just speculation, like I said, in my part, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more of these bonuses going towards the lower tier fighters as far as the pay scale. I don't want to down those guys, but on the pay scale, they're definitely in the lower tier. Overall, I enjoyed the fight, though. I enjoyed the card. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the donations last night. PBR Street Gang. Dean Hamper, thanks as always to the monthly premium members, PBR Street Gang, Milton Nelson, and Greg Brimstone. If you want to be a premium member, of course, you can just hit that member slot over in the community tab, and as far as low as $5 a month, you can help support the show. You can get some exclusive, it's not going to be exclusive content, but these guys are going to get some things, depending on what it is, a week to 2 weeks early. I don't ever want to put anything out that everyone doesn't get to see. I feel like that's kind of silly. But and then they're going to get some other perks. They already have some members-only emojis and some other things. And, of course, shout-outs like this. But I could go on for another 15 minutes about this card. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know, what do you guys think of this card? What do you think happens next for these fighters? Make sure and check out the Iman Report over on Facebook, Fights with Friends Facebook. Our group over there, he spent some time putting together where he thinks each fighter should go next. And to end this, I just want to talk about a conversation Glover Teixeira and Dana White had through the media. Glover Teixeira says, I think I should be next for the title. I want a title shot. And Dana White said, he's not wrong. So there you go. I mean, kind of a roundabout way of saying it and maybe giving himself a little bit of wiggle room. And maybe that's just because we already know that Israel Adesanya is scheduled to face Jan Blachowicz. But I would be very surprised after this brilliant performance if Glover Teixeira is not next in line for the winner of that fight. Looking forward to hearing your guys' comments. Tuesday, we got Dana White Contender Series. Thursday, we have the return of the Bellator Featherweight Grand Prix with Pitbull Alves. A brilliant rematch coming up in featherweight you're not going to want to miss. And then next Saturday, back on UFC for Islam Makhachev and Rafael Dos Anjos. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.